For me, being diverse and inclusive is not just about a skin tone or a race. It's about like how we experience something, and how we all experience beauty is the aperture is wide. Like it's a very wide lens. It's broad, and so it's about thinking about everybody in between, from the pro to the novice, and everybody in between, and making sure everybody feels good and feels confident.
Welcome to the Women on the Move podcast. I'm your host, Sam Saperstein. This season, we're delving into how strong communities create opportunities, foster belonging, and empower leaders to make a lasting impact. In this episode, I'm speaking with Danessa Myricks, the visionary founder and CEO behind Danessa Myricks Beauty, a brand built on the belief that beauty is for everyone. As a self-taught makeup artist and entrepreneur, Danessa has redefined industry standards through radical inclusivity, creativity, and a purpose that centers representation at every level. Danessa, thank you so much for being with us on the Women on the Move podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's so great to have you here. I can't wait to talk about the products and the company and you. There's so many fans out there, myself included, so we're going to hit a lot of things. So let's talk about how you got into the beauty industry in the first place, because it was not the most traditional path.
No, this wasn't traditional at all.
Tell us the story.
I mean, we'll try and make a very long story short. My original career path was, I think, like most people my age, I'll be 55 this year. So if you can roll it back to what it might have been for me when I was in my teens and what my parents might have been telling me, it was a full-on a corporate journey, right?
Yes.
And there was no perspective on creativity being a way to earn money, right? And so for me, being the first of a lot of things in my family, like the first to go to college, there was a lot of firsts.
Yes.
I wanted to do it all right. And so I was pretty much focused on having a very corporate path. But if you think about my upbringing, it was quite the opposite because, I grew up poor, but the kind of poor where you don't know you're poor until somebody tells you. It was great. But we grew up poor, and so we had to be super creative. Like, we made our own clothes. Like, I remember making skateboards from old skates and boards we found outside. Like, we were always building tents outside, or I was washing out milk cartons and painting them to make doll houses. So my whole upbringing was very art forward, very creative, very, if you don't see it, close your eyes, imagine it, and then make it with what's around you. So that's how I grew up. But that was not my perspective when it came to work. And so my journey was very much like, do your best in a corporate world. But I landed myself at a publishing company, and they published Black hair magazines. And it literally changed my perspective on so much. It's really where my eyes were open to what possibilities may exist in the beauty space. Like, prior to that, I saw myself outside of it, very disconnected from it.
Yeah.
I never saw myself represented. My journey as a young adult, I was never able to find that thing to cover my acne, or, I couldn't be with the cool kids with my makeup on because there weren't things for people my complexion, period. I wasn't able to create solutions or solve problems for myself in the beauty space, and I didn't see myself anywhere. I didn't see anybody who looked like me with my skin tone, who had a life like mine. So I literally lived outside of it, excited about it and thinking it was cool, but not ever thinking it was for me. But my journey at that publishing company just showed me something different, because I participated in selling photo shoots and preparing them. And, the artists that would come were people who looked like me, who had careers that were artistic. And they were creating these really beautiful transformations on people who look like me as well. And I was like, oh, it is possible. And, I began to see myself in it, not seeing a path to it, but I saw myself in it. And I guess the universe took care of it for me, because that company, the founder decided that he wanted to do something else. And at that point, I was a single mom with 2 kids, a 7-year-old and a newborn.
Wow.
And I was faced with having to start all over again in the corporate journey. But I had a new perspective now. My aperture was broader, and I just couldn't see myself going back to do something that I didn't really feel passionate about. And also the fact that, the rug can be pulled out from underneath me so quickly, just the awareness of that. I just thought I really want to be more in control
Mm,
of my financial destiny. And I
yeah.
also want to do something that feels good, that when I wake up in the morning, I want to go do it. So that's where it all
Wow.
began.
So it really feels like so many things were converging on
Oh,
this
yeah.
moment, and
Oh,
you had been
yeah.
thinking about this for a long time?
I
Yeah.
wasn't thinking about being an entrepreneur per se or being an entrepreneur in the beauty space.
Mm,
I just knew that I wasn't fulfilled. Like, I'm like,
yes,
can this
yes.
be it? Because if so, this sucks.
Yeah, and you were honest about it. That's incredible. Well, so in growing up, given you were doing so many things creatively,
Mhm.
how did beauty come into play in your life? Like, what role did it play when you were growing up?
I mean, again, for me personally, not much, but I can say, I my mother she's so beautiful, and like that was the image that was in front of me. Like if I didn't see myself anywhere, I can come home and see it.
Yep.
And she loved her red lipstick. She
Right.
loved her face powder. She had, I watched her use beauty as a way for her to feel powerful when she
Mm.
was going to important places.
Ooh, I love that.
Right? It's what made her feel good. So that was my initial connection there. And I also remember there was a point in my early journey where she did everything. When I say we went even to costume stores, like to find something that would make me feel more confident
Mm.
with my acne and how I was feeling about myself. And then she landed on, because she realized that the solution wasn't there, she was like, "You're going to wear blue eyeliner." And I was like, "Blue eyeliner?" Like, and, at this point, I was maybe like 11 or 12, maybe 13. And she was like, "Yeah, because what I learned is that blue eyeliner on brown eyes is the magic. And no one's going to focus on your acne. They're not going to focus on your skin. They're just going to be so focused on your eyes." And
Oh,
literally, like, just that little bit of information just changed the way I felt about myself. So I wore blue eyeliner, I wore blue mascara. And when I put it on, because my mom had told me so, I
yeah.
felt beautiful.
Oh,
And
I
so
love that
it
story.
was there where I realized just like how important just being able to find just a glimmer of confidence through beauty can be for someone, especially like a young girl in the formative years of your life where you're really putting together like what beauty means for you, how you're feeling, how you want to show up in the world, just how something like an eyeliner
Mm.
can change how you navigate the world. I think it's super powerful.
Very. I just love that story too, and how that advice from your mother meant so much to you at a critical
Oh, yeah.
time. And as a brown eyed girl, I'm going to take that. Sarah, thank you for that. So you talked about you were a single mom.
Yeah.
You were thinking about what to do next. And I guess I want to tie this to what I recently saw in one of your Instagram posts. You wrote, "The company, we're connecting hearts and minds through beauty."
Mhm.
So, what does that mean to you? What does that purpose mean to you as you've built a successful company?
Oh, wow, it means so much. I mean, I've had the privilege now, I've been in the industry now for about 25 years, and I've not just I don't just have my own lived experience to draw from. I have the experiences and the voices of so many people that I had an opportunity to talk to train, to service all around the world.
Mm,
And for me, there are a few. I mean, there's so many examples I can give you, but I remember my first trip outside of the US to do something in the beauty space. I was invited to do a master class in Vladivostok, Russia.
wow.
Now, if you know anything about Russia first, but Vladivostok is 8 hours outside of Moscow.
Oh my.
So just know that there's no one there that looks like me, right?
Right.
And so that experience for me, well, one, the fact that I was invited told me that there was a hunger for
Mm,
people to feel more connected in this beauty space because they reached out to me,
yes.
that's number one. But when I got there, I was just so blown away by just the narrative that they had around people who look like me versus reality.
Mm,
And the things that they said to me, like things like, we only get a chance to see Black people on the news.
mm,
And if we have any perspective on what the news cycle looks like, especially for people who look like me, it's not always positive. And for them, they were intrigued initially that they were inspired by somebody who looked like me so far away. That was one.
Yeah.
But just, bringing me to their homes and talking to their grandmothers and their mothers and hearing their experiences and sharing perspective, like literally my presence there in Vladivostok, Russia changed the way people thought about Black people. And that happened as a result of a product that I made
Right.
and how I was able to show them how to use it and that curiosity. So a product, like Color Fix, connected culturally people on the other side of the earth and made them have a sense of empathy, a sense of togetherness, a sense of like we are all the same, that we would enjoy the same things, share the same ideals. Like for me, that was really powerful.
I bet. I mean, that is remarkable to go through that experience and to think about a product that, as you started with, meant something to you personally, right? Makeup being a part of your personal
Hmm.
self-esteem, but then knowing you could bring that to others who are so different from you, halfway around the world, remotely,
Yes.
and have that experience together with them. That is fantastic. I'd never really thought about makeup being able to do that or beauty, but
Oh, yeah.
absolutely can see it.
And I have thousands of stories like that,
Ah,
and I hear them every day. So, for people who think that makeup is trivial, like I can write a book
absolutely not. You
to tell
should.
you all
You
the
should.
reasons
Okay.
why it's
That will
not.
be another
Yeah.
day. But okay, so Danessa Myricks Beauty, the
Mhm.
company, is known for many things. And I think one of them is this inclusivity you're talking about,
Yeah.
this meeting people where they are in different spaces,
Mhm.
really being able to serve a variety of skin types. And one of the things I loved seeing on the website and also in the stores was just how many different people you are showing using your products.
Yeah.
I mean, that is so phenomenal. So talk about how that came to be such an important philosophy of the company.
I mean, just from my own lived experience, like, I knew how important it was. Like, I know all of the nights I laid on my pillow crying because I didn't feel seen, um, and I couldn't see myself. And so I know I can't be alone,
Mm,
right?
no.
And as I journeyed through the beauty space as a whole, I mean, I've done so many things. I was artist and educator. I developed products not just for our brand, but for others. I work corporately for other brands. I got a chance to see the other side of things through other people's lenses and see how products come to life. And, I had a chance to work in labs from all over the world and see where the challenges are there. And I just knew that I really wanted to be the change I wanted to
Mm,
see. I knew for a fact that there were a lot of stories that were never going to be told. When you think about how a lot of brands make product, everybody's looking at past data.
hmm,
So if it didn't exist in the past, they're not going to make something now. If you can't see the success of it in the past, then it's not worth, they can't see the math and how it's going to be profitable. But you're never going to see it if it was never there,
right.
right?
Someone has to
And it
take a
was,
chance.
yeah, it was very hard to have those conversations, especially as a consultant. And I knew from my own eyes and my own experience in all of my travels that there are a lot of different ways that people are participating in beauty.
Yeah.
um, I've heard the voices and I knew that there was a lot of people who didn't feel a part of it. And these are real people. They
Yeah.
live on this planet with us, right? And so I just knew how important it is to feel like somebody's thinking about you and creating something with you in mind, especially when you're talking about something that's problem solving.
Mm,
Even if I go back to just my time, like very severe acne, like that was my whole world at that moment. And I was desperately looking for solutions.
yeah.
And then, if you could imagine if there was a solution there and it was perfect and it was a thing that I needed, but it wasn't made for me,
Mm,
right? I wasn't thought about in the construction of it. Like that makes you feel even worse,
of course.
right?
Of
And
course.
so for me, there's nothing more important than that. Like if you have a business, whether you're providing a service or a product, there's a person on the other end of it.
That's right.
And it's like, who is that person? And for me, it's everyone. I cannot even imagine for a moment separating someone from the group of somebody who I want to make feel good,
That's so
you know?
interesting because many companies, I think, have personas in mind. They
Yeah,
really design their products and
I hate
services,
that
right?
because people train that all the time, and I'm just like, so you're strategically excluding people. And when we talk about beauty, for me, like and knowing that it's a necessity, and knowing that it's something at the core of a human. Like it's where their confidence lies. It's where, they feel self-assured, where their power comes from. I mean, personally, I can't see
Yeah.
excluding anybody from the
The
conversation.
good news is you don't have to because you have so many products that work. So I was in Sephora picking up
Mhm.
some of your products and I wanted to see just how it was displayed. And there was quite a few people around me also buying. I had to sort of edge
Oh,
around them
that's
and get them.
good.
So we happy to know. So I have this color fix,
Mhm.
the gold mine on, and I also have the blurring balm powder, which I can't believe how little you need to use
Yes.
to really get an effect. It was unbelievable. So I have to go light. But tell me about what products stand out to you in terms of their uniqueness.
In terms of our collection,
Mhm.
well, for me, there's so much intention about everything. So for me, they're all very unique. Like you named two of I would say the top two that really tell the story of the brand.
Mhm.
Color Fix for me was a culmination of like my life as an artist and how I started as an artist. Like most people don't know, when I started doing makeup, I had $0. And so I had to find things that I can use to do a lot of things. And I would go to the drugstore, buy pencils because they were always like 99 cents or a dollar
Mhm.
fifty.
Yeah.
They were under $5 100% of the time. And I would break them open,
Mm.
scrape out the lead and melt it down. And then I had this very high pigmented cream that I could put anywhere.
Ooh.
And I used it all over the face. It's literally how I started as a makeup artist. It was the base of me building my kit. And so when I was thinking about the first thing that I would make that would be manufactured, like that's all I can think about, this multi-use thing that
Yes.
can do everything, go everywhere, creates a lot of value, not just if you're an artist, but just as an everyday person. If you have one thing that could do everything, like it's your Swiss Army
Mm.
knife,
Mhm.
what would it be? And that's what Color Fix is. So I love that you grabbed
Oh, I
that.
love it. So you're saying I can use this not only on eyelids, but
Your cheek, your lip, you can mix it in with your foundation. It literally is I do everything kind of a product.
that's
Yeah.
incredible.
And Bomb Powder for me also is the reason why it really tells such a full story of the brand is that that product is a technique that I used to do as an artist. I used to uh, really prep the skin very well, so lots of good skincare. And then I would take powders in different colors and I would do your entire face with powder underneath the foundation because it was a way of making the skin look very flawless. You didn't have powder sitting on top of the skin, which
Yeah.
sometimes can age someone.
Yes.
It looked like you. It made the makeup look very natural, but it absorbed all the oil. It kept sweat away. And so I used to do a series of things to get that result. And balm powder is the one step thing that everybody can do. So like you
Amazing.
said, you can just open it, put your finger in it, and you can be an artist, your
Yeah.
own artist. And the confidence that it brings you to know that you can get all of those things just by going like this on your face with your fingers. I mean, for me, it's really powerful. So that particular product, I'm super, super proud of. And we've won so many awards for it, but it just tells the story of our brand: innovation, inclusivity, taking artistry, making it easy, creating products that build confidence. Like it tells the full story. So I love
Absolutely.
that those are the two products.
I mean, I'm gonna keep using it now everywhere. I love it. So it says on it, the back of the box, with Upsolite technology.
Yeah.
What is that exactly?
So Epsolite is a product made in Uppsala. It's a Swedish product. And during COVID, I was working on this product, Bomb Powder, and with the intent of making sure that that absorption of oil and sweat was
Mhm.
there, and that it blurred the skin because that's
Mm.
something everyone has issues with texture, and I knew
Yes.
that was a problem that I wanted to solve. And during COVID, like I was, in 2019, I traveled 300 of the 352 days in a
Oh
year.
my goodness.
In 2019, I did not. And so,
Right.
I mean, 2020. So I was home a lot. I was in my office. I was researching, and an email came across about this particular ingredient that no one had used in the way that we've used it in this product. And it had the highest blurring index of anything in cosmetics,
Mm.
the highest absorption rate. Like 1 gram of Upsolite can absorb a tennis court's surface area
Wow.
of oil and sweat. Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's super, super powerful. We have 4 grams in our bomb powder.
Oh my
Just to give
goodness.
you some sense of
Yeah,
like the
no oil's
efficacy
getting
of
through
it.
on that.
Yeah, and so
Fantastic.
that was the magic ingredient into what we were already building to take this product to the next level. And I'm really
Amazing.
proud we were the first to ever use it in a hot pour. And no one else to date has done it in the way that we've done it. So
That's
I'm
incredible.
super proud of that.
Congratulations.
Thank
That's
you.
incredible. And I've talked to users who really appreciate that oil absorbing capability. So you're onto something.
Thank you.
I think what's also really unique about the brand is that professional makeup artists really love it,
Yeah.
but it's very accessible to consumers and you're selling it directly to consumers.
Mhm.
It doesn't seem like there's many brands who can do both of those things. So how do you do that? How do you approach, because those will be different segments, and how will you talk and position the product differently?
Yeah, for me, honestly, it's really easy because if you think about how I started, I'm a self-taught makeup artist. I had to teach myself how to do things, so I needed things to be easy,
Mm,
right? And so I was taking complex ideas and trying to make it digestible for myself. So for me, I was always the customer,
yes,
right?
yes.
And so like that's more where my mind is. I understand the complexity of artistry, and have been able, really blessed to be able to have to do artistry at very high levels.
Mhm.
But I also understand, like, me starting as an artist and, like, what I didn't know, and also just me as a general consumer and the people who are around me, what they don't know that would make their experience easier. So I feel like I have it all. I'm surrounded by it
You've lived
all.
it.
Yeah, I've
Mhm.
lived it and I'm seeing it around me, and so for me, it's like that's how I think about creating in the beauty space is what for me, being diverse and inclusive is not just about a skin tone or a race. It's about, like, how we experience something.
Yeah, yeah.
And how we all experience beauty is so the aperture is wide, like, it's a very wide lens, it's broad, and so it's about thinking about everybody in between, from the pro
Mm,
to the
I love
novice
that.
and everybody in between, and making sure everybody feels good and feels confident.
So the entrepreneurship experience is often a rocky road with
Often,
testing and
always.
always a rocky road.
Yeah.
So I'm very curious. Take us back to the time where you're making something in your kitchen. You talked about this so
Mhm.
far. And tell us about something that went right. And then maybe tell us something that didn't go as well.
Yeah, wow, how long do we have? Um, and so I would say, I think the best time that I had and the most fun I had is like in my basement making things, like
Mm,
mixing it until I knew it was right. And, I was making small batches of things and I did every step of it. So I knew it was good. I can trust every step of
yes.
it. And also I was the person standing behind the booth sharing it with the customer, telling the story of
Yeah.
it, applying it to them. So that experience being involved 360, like I think is very powerful. And for anybody who's early stage in their business, like cherish that time. I think the most challenging point was trying to scale those, basement ideas
Right.
up,
Mm,
to be able
hmm.
to serve thousands of people. I think it just changes everything and not I didn't know what I didn't know. And so much of what I've done has been learning on the job. So there have been moments where when I like even the idea of Colorfix has gone through so many
Hmm.
iterations.
Interesting.
Like it started out in a pump because I wanted it to be very hygienic. I wanted like an artist to be able to put it in their kit very
Yep.
easy. It was super tiny. I knew you only needed a little bit, so I just wanted you to be able to pump out the tiniest amount. But first generation of Color Fix, people like, "I love this," and then the next day it didn't pump out because, it was
Mm,
drying in the tip.
yes.
And so, this is why community is so important. Like, my
Yes.
community, like, stood by me. They were like, "We know this is good. We're here to support you. Fix it." And so the next
Important.
iteration was in a tube. And so they were like, "This is great. This is, like, the best thing." Um, but then I sourced a tube that wasn't as robust as the formula needed. So
Mm,
the tube was great, but people were like, wait, it's drying inside the tube. So
mm.
air was getting into the tube. And so there was a point in my business where I refunded or exchanged, like maybe I would say about, like, it makes my stomach hurt, like maybe like 30,000
Oh my
units of
goodness.
Color Fix
Oh, you are
because
kidding.
but I think that's why my community sticks by me because they're like,
Right.
something was wrong and you fixed it and we moved on. Now Colorfix is perfect,
Yeah,
obviously, and
yes.
it's in like
And a great
multiple
too.
finishes and whatever, but that it was hard to learn that.
Fascinating
Yeah.
story. I mean, how would you know that going from mixing this in your
Yeah.
basement to the tube and the way you had to learn
Yeah.
trial and error?
Yeah. I've never made those kinds of mistakes again, though,
No,
I
I'm
will
sure you
say,
haven't.
but I
But
mean,
thankfully for the community
yeah.
really stepping in. So talk to us about that. We're really spending a lot of time on community
Yeah.
in this season, and it's vital to everything that we're doing,
Mhm.
personally and professionally. So your community came out for you clearly
Always,
and
always.
stuck with you.
Yes.
What did you draw from this? I mean, and how do you continually replenish that community and the connection you have with them?
Yeah, I mean, I just never let go.
Mm,
I mean, for me, it's been from the very beginning. It's been the community that's built this brand, who has supported me, who has supported my ideas, who have cheered me on. I think, they see themselves in me. I mean, if you think about it, there was nothing special about me. I just I'm like so many people on this planet who just want something more for themselves, want something more for the people around them, and just took a chance to build something and to create something. I think a lot of people feel that way and want that for themselves too, and they see it in me. And so they can understand like where I'm at. I didn't have any previous education in this space. There was nobody telling me how to do it. And so they were just really rallying behind me and cheering me on from day one. And I never let go of them. I always listened to them. I always asked for their ideas. I asked like for what they need. I asked them if it's working, is it right? And we've always had this really beautiful dialogue. I've never forgotten it. Like they've been with me on the journey. And as people are introduced to the brand, they're also introduced to the community. I mean, people tell me all the time when they read the comments on social, they're like, there's no negative comments on your
no,
post.
they're really not.
And it's because like people really, they know who I am and they know my intent. And this community, like when someone joins, if there is a negative comment, they're all jumping like, hey, this not in this house.
Right,
Like
right.
this is not what
I
we
love
do
that
here. It's
support.
not
I
what
love
we
that.
do here.
And by the way, you can't buy that.
Yeah.
It is really authentic. You
It's
built
real. I really care about the people who experience this brand. And I think people know that. And so, yeah, they stick in there with me.
I'm really struck too at how much joy and fun they have,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
With the colors and every
Yeah.
time you post something. I mean, it's beautiful.
Thank you.
But I think you also see everyday consumers buying things and
Yeah.
experimenting and using color. So I love that. So tell us about the moment you felt like you had a big break. Was that getting into a retail outlet or just having your first big order? What was that moment where you said to yourself, okay, we're about to take off?
Wow, there were a lot of different moments at different times. If I can go back to the one that I think, really made me feel like this is a real business is when we got our first wholesale account. Up until that point, if you wanted to buy the product, it was out of my truck, knocking on my front door, or
Mhm.
like meeting me at a show.
Uh,
And Alcone is a world-renowned pro artistry shop. Like big pros from all around the world, when they're in New York, that's where they go,
mm,
or that's where they buy it online because they know that everything that's important in beauty is there. And they were the first store to take a chance on the brand.
love
And it changed everything for us because the people who were shopping were notable in the space, and they were using our products, and it built confidence on a different level, and it enabled us to tell the story on a much grander scale, and not just through my voice, but through the voice of people that other people respect in the beauty landscape. And once Alcone took the product, and multiple other pro shops followed.
great.
So that was pretty powerful. The next ones for me, they actually both happened all around the same time. In 2019, the first, I would say, retail chain carried us. That was Morphe. And we were still running the business out of my basement at that time.
Uh-oh, had
So
to
I don't know if
scale.
you can imagine what that looked like, but it was very tricky.
Yep.
But it just made me feel like, wow, if a larger retail chain saw us and saw value for their customers and were able to purchase like these big orders, like, wow, we're on our way. But the magic really happened for me in 2021. That's when we launched in Sephora, which is like a dream space if you
Amazing.
are creating in beauty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's also when we won our first Allure Best in Beauty award. It was for
Congrats.
Color Fix,
Oh, well deserved.
which is really powerful. Like the first product that we've ever manufactured
Ah,
was the first product that we won this very prestigious award in the beauty space. And I think what was more important for me with the our launch in Sephora is that, up until that point, our awareness was really around professionals
mm,
or beauty enthusiasts or influencers who really knew of our brand. But, the Sephora customer is very different. It's the average everyday beauty wearer.
mm-hmm.
What was powerful for me and for the brand and what really made me feel good is that what we set out to do, we were doing because we were very successful from the start and grew very quickly with a brand new customer. And the fact that this new customer was able to walk into the store and see themselves in the brand was really powerful. And that's when we really knew that we were on the right track, that we were doing the thing that we said we were here to do. That year was a really special year for me and will always be.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that's so fascinating to know you started with a group of influencers, if you will, the pros,
Mm-hmm.
and it took one company to take a chance on you,
Yeah.
which really led to so much more.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a great lesson for entrepreneurs that you went to a very specific channel,
Mm-hmm.
and that channel could really lead to so many other
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And you didn't start direct to consumer, which some brands do.
Yeah. And we always had our website going, and I was not a webmaster. So anybody, I apologize. And if, for anybody who ever
For early
purchased from us
website.
early on, because it wasn't the most fluid and sexy
Stuck with you.
experience.
It's
But
okay.
thank you all for sticking with us. But yeah, so we still have our D2C business.
Yeah.
But, Sephora obviously is where our largest customer base is. Yeah.
That is fantastic. So you've talked about your community, which sounds like a very big online community.
Hmm.
What is your social media strategy? How would you say you like to show up in that channel?
Authentically.
Mm.
Like, honestly, everybody is always asking, like, what is it you guys are doing? And we're like being ourselves.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's really important. There's, what you see on our pages is who we are. It's not like we're creating something separate from us for social. It's
Mm-hmm.
who we are.
Yeah.
It's always important. And, when we sit around the table and talk about what we want to post and what we want to do, it's always like, if I were this kind of person and I came to our page today, would I feel like I belong here? And that's always our strategy. Like, this brand must always be a safe place to land in
Mm.
beauty. That is our priority. And so, if anything, we're just making sure that that diversity always shines through and those conversations are always happening. But it's actually kind of easy because if you came to my office, you would see the world and you would see every age. We have 7-year-olds working in our office, right? Everybody is there,
I thought we are
right?
testers.
Yes, I mean, across the board, we have multiple languages that are being spoken, different parts of the world that are being represented. Like every identity is there. Like,
What I noticed that it's not only the skin tones, but it's gender
oh,
diversity. That's
100%.
and I do
Yeah.
not see that really on many beauty brands.
I mean, it's who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So we just show up on social being ourselves. And I think that's what our community enjoys about us is that we're consistent. We're not performative in any way. And if anything is ever missing, they ask for it and we answer. We did a casting recently, and most people don't know, like from the beginning of time, like all of our images have always been people who consume the brand. They've always been customers or personal relationships. Like, not through agencies. It's really you knew us. And so we amplified that recently doing a casting. And that casting was so important for me. Like, we did a casting call and we let anybody who sees themselves in the brand show up. And I honestly thought that maybe we'll get like 100 or so people because it was a very small window, the casting call. Like, literally, we had, I think at the end of that day, we saw over 800
Oh
people.
my goodness.
Yeah. And
Wow.
it was like a party, basically. And what was most like, yeah, I get emotional thinking about it now. Well, it wasn't like what you would traditionally see at a casting call for a modeling agency. People came in chairs. We had people of every body size, every skin tone, every age, to your point, every gender. When you see somebody come who has like one eye to the casting call, feeling so confident that they're in the right place, like I can't even put into words like what that day felt like. And then when you see them actually show up in our campaigns, then you really know that, this is, yeah, we're doing the right thing. You know what I mean?
That's incredible.
So yeah.
800 people
Oh
from all
yeah.
walks of life. I
Yeah.
mean, what a
It
joyful
was
thing. Even if
incredible.
probably not many people were able to move on to the next round, I'm sure they enjoyed being there
Oh
and
yeah.
celebrating.
Oh, and we still go back to that list. Like when we launched our concealer, we had 108 models and all came from that room.
Wow.
And every campaign, even on our Teach Me Tuesdays or whatever it is, always go back to that
That's
list.
incredible. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what's on tap for you this year, because you are still doing so much in the community.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the most?
Wow. Any time that I could, I'm outside a lot more.
Mm.
I I don't know, maybe I'm a non-traditional CEO. I'm supposed to be very focused on just maybe that's a global view of the business, but I'm like in the weeds. Probably more than most. I'm out a lot. Like for me, it's really important to be with the people who consume our brand, the storytellers of our brand. So I'm out a lot and really just trying to create as many opportunities just to meet people in person. I think we operate uniquely where we know that we can not only just touch our audience through our audience, but through partnerships and collaborations with other brands. And I think people will be surprised to see how collaborative we are with other brands, even competitive brands, just to do what we say we're here to do.
Mhm.
Connect heart to mind through beauty, right? And so it doesn't, so we're very upfront, very personal, really leaning into the digital space. I mean, that's really been the success of our brand from day one. Like people really got to meet us first, whether it was on social or through a digital masterclass. And so we're creating a lot more digital experiences. Like even me personally, just making time in my work day to schedule just Zooms to meet people in different parts of the world, customers who consume the brand, like just having more intimate, up close and personal interactions and conversations with our community is super important.
Yeah.
It's what drives everything for me, what drives our innovation. So for sure, that's a priority. But I'm really excited for the newness that we have coming and just the new ideas that are on the way. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you're very driven by innovation,
Oh yeah.
clearly. So I
Yeah.
can't wait to see what comes up
Yeah.
next. On the subject of leadership, as a Black woman founder, how
Mhm.
important is it for you to be that representation to so many others? I mean, you talk about being out in the community.
Yeah.
You're probably very visible, as relating to
Yeah.
others. Does that come with a responsibility?
Oh, 100%. I mean, and it's everything. Like, I'm very conscious of everything that I do. I'm very conscious of how I show up. Anybody who knows me knows that I take mentorship really, really seriously. There are programs that I've started. There's programs that I've collaborated with other artists, other entrepreneurs on. Like, if anybody looked at my calendar in a week, they would know what's important to me.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
always, if it's not a podcast, it's a talking to another group, whether it be a group of new entrepreneurs, maybe it be active founders who are looking to collaborate, trade stories to support each other in that way. Whether it's students, like I'm always making myself available because I just remember just me and my journey. And I just can only imagine how different it would have been if I would have been able to ask questions
Mhm.
to the right person at
Yeah.
the right time. So mentorship is really important to me. And also the one thing that I know for sure is that it's important for people, people know that they can be it if they see it. And I want when they see me and they understand my journey, they know what's possible for them. So yeah, that's always going to be a priority for me.
I love that. I mean, that sounds like such a legacy for your business that you're pulling that throughout. So, what would you leave our listeners with in terms of your advice if someone wants to maybe pursue something in a creative field but doesn't yet see the path for themselves?
There's a Rumi quote that I read recently, and I hope I don't botch it. It says something like, As you start on the way appears.
Mm.
And so what I would say is just start. Like, I never had all the answers. To be honest, I never had any of the answers. It was just like, I think the one thing that I did, that I know with certainty worked was start. And so I would encourage anybody, regardless of how you may see yourself, that imposter syndrome is weird. I felt it my entire journey, but it doesn't matter. The fear that you feel, you will feel your entire journey. It doesn't matter. It's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Just start and the path will unfold in front of you.
Danessa, it's so nice to talk to you and to see your success. It's
Thank
just
you.
really uplifting for us. Thank you for being here
Thank you
and
for
thank you
having
for
me.
continuing to be out there in the world.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to my conversation with Danessa Myricks. I loved how she created a community with her customer base and how she's able to connect with people across the world through beauty. Thank you to Danessa for sharing her purpose, passion, and power with us. As you move through your journey, we invite you to reflect on the power of community in your life. When you build mutual trust in your community, everyone benefits. And as a bonus, the community will be there for you when you need it. If you enjoyed this podcast, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to it on your favorite podcast platform.